Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July Tri-County Sustainability General Meeting. So always good to have some good tunes to get us started. We are the hub to 101 towns and 10 legislative districts and 1.2 million residents in Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. My name is Catherine Fisher. I'm from Collingswood, New Jersey. If you live in South Jersey, I'm sure you've come to our restaurants or have had dinner here at some point. In my day job, I'm the campaigns manager with the New Jersey League of Conservation Voters. I'm a lifelong resident of South Jersey. I grew up in Burlington County, right over in Cinnaminson. And like everyone here, I'm deeply invested in caring for this beautiful place we call home and fighting for sustainable initiatives around the state and the world. So one thing I'm going to plug real quick from our organization. So I'm sure we're all aware of the blazing summer heat. We've seen an increase in flooding. Our previous winters have been more mild. We haven't seen as much snow. It's obvious that climate change is here. But if we act now, we could avoid the worst of the impacts of climate change. So there's a bill in state legislature that is urging lawmakers to support the transition to 100% clean electricity. So I will plug our petition right in the chat in a moment. Let me just pull that up real quick. And I just plugged that in for everyone. So what this bill does is it prepares the state for 100% clean electricity production. So it has a lot to do with updates to the grid, updates to the infrastructure. I'll also plug in the name of the bill in just a moment. I think in the petition, if you scroll down to the chat box, you'll see the name of the bill as well, but I'll plug that into the chat in a moment. So signing this petition is a way to tell lawmakers that this issue is important. And if you have any questions or want to get involved with spreading the word on this bill, we're hosting canvases through the summer to continue to talk to our neighbors about this legislation. So if you or someone else is interested in knocking doors this summer to talk about clean electricity, we'd love to have you and talk to you. We do pay $15 an hour. So I'll plug my email address in case you're interested in getting involved in this. So New Jersey is positioned to be a leader on this in advocating for 100% clean electricity production. And we'll be among the first states demanding this specific timeline. So if this legislation passes, we can advocate other states to do the same and set an example for the rest of the country. So this is a critical bill to advocate for, and it could really be the first of many dominoes to fall as we fight against climate change. So before we get started tonight, here's a few quick reminders. So I see some people doing it already, so feel free to put your name, town, and county in the chat. So it's a really good way to learn about your neighbors and chat with each other. We're a great little hub here. So feel free to continue chatting in the chat box. And we have an exciting program tonight. So thank you for tuning in on this summer evening. And we hope you walk away feeling inspired or have learned something new from one of our great guests. So let's get started. In our leadoff spot tonight, let's bring in our friends Chuck Feinberg and Caroline McCallum from the New Jersey Clean Cities Coalition. And they'll be talking about all of the heavy-duty vehicles running through New Jersey and the region. Hi, Chuck and Caroline.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you for the introduction, and thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and thanks Sean and your team for inviting us. If Caroline, if you can share the presentation, and here it comes. Yeah, so a couple of things. I wanted the opportunity, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to introduce our organization to you if you're not familiar with it. And there are some specific projects that we have ongoing right now that we'd love to get your input on. And we'll get into that as we go along here. There will be a survey, that we will ask you to fill out. It's a very short survey, but your input is extremely important. So what is the New Jersey Clean Cities Coalition, and what is the Clean Cities Coalition Network? So I'll start with the network. We are part of a U.S. Department of Energy program that is run out of the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Office of the Department of Energy, and specifically it's in the Vehicle Technologies Office. And the program is called Clean Cities and Communities. It's been around for a little over 30 years right now. And New Jersey has participated in this program for 25 of those years. Unlike many federal programs, federal programs are usually top down, where they tell you what to do and the locals have to do it. This program is very innovative in that it provides seed funding to locally based coalitions, so that those coalitions can form public-private partnerships and work on initiatives that work in those communities. And specifically, we're all about reduction of petroleum in the transportation sector. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But the coalitions serve several purposes. We bring local stakeholders together. We help strengthen and develop the markets for alternative fuels, for petroleum reduction activities. We bring all aspects of the market together so that projects can be implemented and deployed efficiently and equitably and collaboratively. So it brings the grassroots support, but at the same time, we have the backing of the Department of Energy. We have an incredible network of 85 coalitions that share information, share case studies, share lessons learned very regularly, and we all benefit from having that technical and networking support behind us. Next slide. So again, we are an independent nonprofit. And we go through a formal process that's reviewed by the Department of Energy every couple of years to get this designation as the Clean Cities Coalition. And again, we're dedicated to the establishment of public-private partnerships to reduce petroleum and transportation and to equitably advance alternative fuels and advanced vehicle technologies. And we do that in a number of ways. Next slide. We are also supported and sponsored, and membership fees paid by a broad spectrum of interests across the state of New Jersey, public and private entities, as you see some of them shown here. Next. But our portfolio consists of a number of different specific areas. First of all, we work with all sorts of vehicles, light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicles. We do a lot of work with alternative and renewable fuels. You might know that 2009, 2010, we worked on the first compressed natural gas fueling stations and vehicles in New Jersey. At the time, those were the cleanest vehicles available. We transitioned over 300 heavy-duty vehicles, mostly garbage trucks and the Atlantic City jitney fleet, to compressed natural gas and off of gasoline and diesel. And now most of those fleets, if not all of them, are using renewable natural gas, which is chemically equivalent to fossil gas, but it is a renewable fuel. So we work with a variety of fuels. Again, not every, there's no one solution that is going to work in every case. So we are open to everything that reduces petroleum. And it's not just about fuels, it's also about idle reduction and trip elimination programs that we work with. And we're happy to support local organizations in publicizing and technical support to such initiatives. And we're also working on new mobility choices and emerging technologies, autonomous vehicles, vehicle-to-vehicle communications that will make everything safer, and hopefully more efficient from energy and other standpoints. Next slide. So again, the Clean Cities and Communities program is kind of at the center of the Vehicle Technology Office's technology integration program. So we are actually the only deployment-based program at the Vehicle Technologies Office. Just about all of the other programs there are R&D related, such as vehicle lightweighting and on other engine technologies and the super truck program. But we're all about getting vehicles on the road, getting new technologies on the road, and making it happen as quickly as we can. So again, we have all sorts of information and tools available to us through the Department of Energy. We have a technical response service that is kind of like a tiger team. If there is particular technology issues, we can call upon them and they can have the experts help us out. We do a lot of training and outreach, meetings such as this and many others that we do across the state on a regular basis. And of course, everybody loves us when there are grant opportunities available that we can help make people aware of and lead efforts as appropriate and help support those efforts when the money is available. Next slide. One of the measures of success that we have both for our coalition when DOE reviews us and as Congress reviews the program of the DOE is the amount of petroleum displacement. So last year, our stakeholders were credited with about 17, last year it was about 14.5 million. This year, our goal is 17 million. And you see the breakdown of how we achieved those numbers, how our stakeholders achieved those numbers. And we had a good increase last year. We're still kind of recovering from COVID on our reporting. That's why it flattened out the last couple of years. We had a nice increase last year. We're looking for a nice increase this year. But you see of significance in the breakdown and the colors of this chart is I guess it would be maroon. That bar is widening, and that's electric vehicles. That's the effect of electric vehicles. So we don't have this shown in the presentation, but we're judged both on the gallons of gasoline gallon equivalents that are displaced by alternative fuels and these other technologies, but we also have a greenhouse gas reduction target. And we have significantly increased our greenhouse gas reduction because of this increase in electric vehicles. And I would expect that the 2024 numbers at the end of the year are going to be significantly improved over this. Next slide. So a couple of the programs real quick. We have a current program now. It's funded by the Department of Energy called Empower, which is one of the better acronyms for any federal program I've ever heard of. But it's the Equitable Mobility Powering Opportunities for Workplace Electrification Readiness. It's a mouthful. Empower is a lot easier to say. But this is all about workplace charging. So if you are an employer or you as an employee would like to see charging stations installed at your workplace for employee use, please look this up, sign this pledge. It's on our website, and we can provide the equivalent of a couple of $1,000s worth of free consulting advice. So that consulting could be technical issues. It could be helping with site assessments. It could be helping to hook you up with the right utility people, or it could be things like helping to develop and implement employee use policies, human resource policies that apply to the charging stations. So I encourage you to look into this program. Excuse me, we can put a link in the chat also to it. Next slide. Drive Electric USA and specifically Drive Electric New Jersey is a new program that we're just getting underway. This is essentially there's a lot to this that you're going to hear a lot more about, but it's kind of a way to ease consumers, the ability of consumers to get information about electric vehicle programs. As most people on this meeting probably know, that there's a lot of different state agencies doing activities with electric vehicles, that the utilities are doing a bunch of different things. A lot of municipalities with Sustainable Jersey and other programs are doing a lot of different things. There's a lot of other organizations out there that are doing things. Our goal for this is to simplify that and to bring it all together under a single umbrella, or at least to put a website together where that information can easily be found. Excuse me. One more new program is Caroline, who will be speaking in a second, especially since my voice is going out. She just participated in a Train the Trainer program for electric school buses. And this was put on by the World Resources Institute that you've probably heard of. They are one of the leading organizations working on the deployment of electric school buses. And we'll be reaching out if anybody is listening and working with the school district right now. We'd love to hear about it if you have an interest in electric school buses. As you can see, our goal is to work with at least 5 school districts to help them with a deep dive on electric school buses. Next. And this is actually the program we wanted to talk about tonight. This is the East Coast Zero Emission Vehicle Commercial Corridor. And it's important to note that this is for commercial vehicles, medium and heavy duty vehicles that, there are very few on the road right now, but they are coming. They will be coming in greater numbers. And this is a planning program. There's actually 2 programs, one from New Jersey North and one from New Jersey South, along the I-95 corridor and adjoining roads. And the goal is to identify locations that would be appropriate for commercial vehicle charging. As you can imagine, these heavy duty, medium and heavy duty trucks are going to require a lot of power, and the resources that are necessary to develop this charging infrastructure for those types of vehicles is tremendously complicated. So among other things, we are looking for your input today on this survey that Caroline's going to talk about that would help develop the criteria, the scoring criteria for prioritizing sites. So that's what we're looking for. And I think with that is my last slide, and I'll turn it over to Caroline to talk more about this particular program.
Thanks so much, Chuck. I appreciate it. And shout out to Sean and the Tri-County Sustainability team, for Catherine, for having us here today. Really appreciate everybody's time. Just want to start off by, again, reiterating that, the goal of what we're working on tonight is to share information about electric vehicle charging benefits, and then to share a link for a brief survey. That link is just in the upper left-hand corner, and it's maybe a minute or two to get your input on this important initiative is really the breakpoint of why we're here tonight. So I'm hopeful that as we share more information, you'll take a moment and fill out the survey as I share more information on this project. So let's jump in. Transportation is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in the United States, contributing over a quarter of all emissions in 2023. In New Jersey, that number is even higher, around 38%. ICE vehicles emit harmful pollutants that impact the health of residents living near highways and cause a whole host of health problems. Medium and heavy duty trucks account for just 5% of the miles traveled, but contribute 20% of transportation emissions. This highlights the urgent need for clean transportation solutions. The Northeast has set ambitious goals for freight decarbonization and electrification. 8 of the 9 states in the region have signed the Advanced Clean Trucks MOU, aiming for 30% of new truck sales to be zero-emission vehicles by 2030. The region's geography, population density, and shipping infrastructure make it well-suited for widespread conversion to electric vehicles. Recent federal policies have significantly reduced the total cost of ownership for electric vehicles, making them more economically viable for fleet operations. Achieving these goals will not only help us meet our climate targets, but also improve public health and create economic opportunities. Reducing transportation emissions is critical for achieving our national climate goals. To meet these goals, we need to develop a robust charging infrastructure for electric vehicles. The Northeast Freight Corridor Charging Plan is a key part of this initiative, aiming to create environmental and economic opportunities and improvements across the region. The groundwork for the plan that we're working on now began with this study, which came out in 2022 and is linked on our website, njcleancities.org. In March, the Biden-Harris administration released the National Zero-Emission Freight Corridor Infrastructure Strategy, committing to 100% zero-emission and heavy-duty vehicle sales by 2040. Our plan is a 2-year study funded by the Department of Energy Vehicle Technology Office, and the goal is to develop a regional plan for public charging infrastructure across the 9 states in the Northeast. This plan will forecast electric charging demand at traffic stops along major freight corridors using telematic data to identify critical locations and develop cost-effective solutions. This study will cover nearly 3,000 miles of freight corridors in the Northeast, examining 130 plus sites of routes originating from the Port of New York and New Jersey. The goal is to identify 30 to 40 priority sites for development, enabling truck operators to transition to zero-emission vehicles with confidence that charging infrastructure will be available. Here is the project team led by National Grid, and it includes NREL, RMI, NESCOM, and Beam Reach. Clean Communities of Central New York, based out of Syracuse, is leading the environmental justice effort in collaboration with other Clean Cities coalitions, including the New Jersey Clean Cities Coalition. The study, as I said, will examine 130 potential sites utilizing telematics data to analyze current freight traffic patterns. This data helps to forecast electric load requirements and prioritize sites for infrastructure development. Here's a closer look at the potential sites in New Jersey, with several key sites identified along major interstates. Each site will be scored on 4 criteria: environmental justice, state planning priorities, load forecast for the site, and proximity to infrastructure. This balanced approach ensures that the project team prioritizes sites that offer the greatest benefit and are cost-effective to develop. Prioritizing environmental justice is critical. Communities most affected by climate change, pollution, and environmental hazards should benefit from the development of EV infrastructure. We're seeking input on how to best score environmental justice impacts. In previous studies, we've used a simple criterion: whether a site was a disadvantaged community. Now, with federal support, we can develop more nuanced assessments. We invite you to share your perspective and help us refine this approach. We welcome your questions and insights on additional considerations for scoring these sites. Are there specific concerns that you have? What factors should we consider to ensure a fair and effective site selection? We need feedback from individuals and community groups to identify how to prioritize site selection from an environmental perspective by July 31st. That's tomorrow. Your input will help us choose the most impactful sites and improve in community engagement throughout this process. More information on this project can be found on our website, njcleancities.org, and I'll put that in the chat again under the projects tab. And just for one last time, in case you were looking for it, here's the link to the survey. Let's work together and ensure that there's a cleaner solutions for all. We look forward to hearing from you and would like to open the floor for any questions that you might have.
I think I saw a couple of questions in the chat. Sean, I just saw your one question about zero emission. For the purposes of this particular siting study, we're only talking about battery electric, but for the bigger picture, the zero emission corridor is going to include consideration of hydrogen fueling stations as well. I didn't see all the questions that there might have been others in the chat that I missed. So if anybody does have a question, I think we still have some time left. Please feel free to chime in. I see Sean's hand up. Sean, it's your show. You don't have to raise your hand.
Yeah, sure I do. So check real quick. I'm sorry, I have an echo with my mic. Real quick. So I know the Port of Newark project was announced a couple of months ago. Is there what's the traffic is a big part of this, right? Obviously, where's the biggest traffic? But one of the things that we think of, South Jersey always gets the short end of the stick on everything. And I'm just wondering, is it a bit of a chicken and egg thing where, if we don't build the heavy duty electric charging structure, infrastructure here, that we can't grow? We can't get more business opportunity. Everything tends to, so Newark is getting the lion's share as always,
Well, I mean, a couple of things from the perspective of this project. The port of Newark and Elizabeth, those port areas, there's not a whole lot of space available to put commercial charging depots in. So I think there may be some. But I think a more likely solution is to look at the existing truck stops along the Turnpike and I-95 and other roads throughout New Jersey, to look at existing truck stops and potentially put in charging infrastructure there. But also, you got all these warehouses and distribution centers up and down New Jersey now, throughout the whole state. It may make sense to put, charging depots in those areas. And this is where we need the input of the communities and the local organizations and individuals to express their opinions on that, so that we can make sure they get considered in the overall site prioritization. And keep in mind, this is a planning study. That there's not going to be any stations under this program, as a result of this program, I should say. There's certainly not going to be anything built under this program. But as a result of this program, there's going to be a bunch of priority sites that are identified. How those get built out and by whom is still an open question. So the private sector, in many cases will be stepping up to actually pick the low-hanging fruit and the best sites. Maybe the utilities will, maybe the states will. But actually getting anything built is a ways off on this. I see a question from Henry. Your hand is up.
Yes, thank you. With the feasibility study, in that, or at least has consideration been taken into aligning potential sites with how the state is looking to expand the turnpike in South Jersey and add additional exits?
I have not heard that one specifically, but that is something that should be looked at. Again, we want to make sure our role in this particular project is to try to get the input of the environmental justice and the local community groups into this. The last thing that I would want to see under this program is additional local traffic, even if it is a clean vehicle, electric truck or whatever. I don't want to see additional traffic in an area that does not currently have truck traffic, for example. So, so all of those, please fill out the survey and express that opinion, and bring that concept into it so it can be considered, because I had not heard that before.
Yeah. I'm kind of echoing with the prior gentleman around South Jersey legacy wise. I mean, not just from a sustainability standpoint, but in other funding initiatives, anywhere from education, infrastructure, economic development. South Jersey, I mean, it has to do with being densely populated. North Jersey's just more densely populated. So I know that there's been conversations with the smaller municipalities around, and I said expanding, more so widening the turnpike and looking to have some additional exits in the South Jersey area. So I think it's an interesting thought around setting up those stations at some of the new distribution centers that have popped up here in South Jersey. There's several, particularly in some of the smaller communities, and also looking at the alignment with that, because those trucks will be looking to leverage those other exits as a means of not having to backtrack to get to those distribution centers and setting up those depots there. So, I mean, just thinking about, and there could be, and I bring this up more so as an opportunity in aligning that with something that I don't know when it's happening, but that program is supposed that you're talking about 2030. It could be an opportunity to create a focus around South Jersey with that program to offer something that could be attractive for those small communities and help support them as we think about the air quality specifically. I'm speaking for Camden County. I know our air quality is crap based on last grades, but there could be an opportunity there. So yeah, I'll make sure the survey gets filled out and hopefully it adds some value.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've
got a question.
Yep.
Question from Sharonda, and then there's also a question in the chat from Vicky. So,
hi, as you're talking about warehouses and siting and creating, more exits on the turnpike, which they're going to charge $3 trillion for. What to me should happen is that those companies such as Amazon and these other warehouses, they should be bearing the burden of stationing these charging hubs, because Amazon is shipping all this stuff in. So we should be putting the charging stations on Amazon property. And, they shouldn't be able to say anything else because they have created such a monopoly of products. And I think that, I'm sorry, someone's playing loud music. And I think that would solve the problems. They have space. It could be like whatever 5-lane drive-through for the trucks. When they drop off, they can refuel. When they pick up, they can refuel because, they're always in these high traffic areas off the turnpike, all that. And also, and I name Amazon, but of course, across the turnpike, there are lots of other warehouse locations that should bear that burden. So let's look into that instead of putting more stuff into overburdened EJ communities as the dumping grounds.
Appreciate that input. And please put that in the survey.
Will do. Thank you.
There was another question, Caroline.
yeah, there was a question from Vicky. What she said was, does it make sense to locate charging stations where the vehicles are, ports, concentrations of warehouses, etc.?
Well, so, the way I think this is going to play out, and this is going to play out over a long period of time, we're looking at corridors. We're looking at the ability of commercial vehicles, medium and heavy duty vehicles, to go along the highway from, wherever they're going. So I think it's going to play out where, there's going to be regional development, from the port to the distribution center. The first generation of electric trucks is going to be able to do the short distances from the ports, wherever they are, to the distribution centers. And then maybe, there'll be smaller vehicles that actually make the deliveries, the local deliveries. But for interstate trucking, they're not going to distribution centers, or they may be going from one state to another state. So for those types of deliveries, those types of runs of these trucks, there needs to be a public charging or a charging infrastructure, whether it's public or private or whatever. So it's going to develop. It's going to take many years for that to develop. And And again, our goal is to make sure that the voice of the local communities is heard as these initial planning programs are underway, and as they're going down the road and getting further developed. So I don't want to foreclose any avenues right now. I mean, the common goal for all of us is to get electrified vehicles on the road as fast as possible. And some of these are going to be harder to do than others. And interstate trucking is going to be one of the harder ones, that's for sure. John?
Hey, Jack, thanks again. Can you speak to, I don't want to put you on the spot with this one, but just we have a diverse audience here. Can you speak a little bit to I wouldn't want a gas station in my backyard, right? But that's because of the historic, things like leaks and benzene and all that. But a charging station, doesn't have the same type of, just because this is an environmental justice conversation, and we're talking about red line communities, and so am I wrong to say it's not the same problem to have electric vehicle charging in your neighborhood as it would be to say have a turnpike's worth of gasoline stations?
Yeah, when my personal opinion is it is absolutely not the same problem, but it could still be a problem if it's not done correctly. I mentioned before, the last thing I want to see is increased truck traffic in a neighborhood that does not currently have truck traffic. So siting of these facilities needs to take that into consideration. Existing truck stops, substituting electric trucks for diesel trucks would be a tremendous improvement. And, it would not be making traffic any worse, but it would be solving a number of different issues. Plus, it opens up a new industry for potential workforce development for service technicians, and driver satisfaction of the truck drivers is expected to be tremendously improved because they're not going to come home smelling like diesel mechanics every day. No hard feelings against any diesel mechanics that might be on the call, but so I think it does open up some opportunities, but again, with any of this, I think it was you who had made the comment in the chat. We want to make sure that we don't repeat past mistakes to the extent that they can be avoided, and we want to make sure with surveys like this and other community engagement that we're doing, that we want to make sure that the concerns of the communities are heard and that they're factored into the planning process.
That's awesome.
So again, thanks for the opportunity to have us on tonight, and I think our time is up. And
just real quick, check before you sign off. Could I just ask Caroline, can you bring that slide up again, or if you have the link to the survey, please post it in the chat. And while you're doing that, there's a question from Kevin Barfield.
Kevin.
Yes. Hi, Kevin Barfield, Camden, New Jersey. Camden for Clean Air. Basically, okay, my question is, who has the final say when it comes to where these stations are going to be placed?
So again, this is a planning program where high priority locations are going to be identified. I think it's yet to be seen as to who is going to actually develop these particular stations, whether that's going to be the government or the private sector or some combination. But all of the factors that Caroline mentioned in the presentation have to be considered and prioritized, and that's the outcome of this particular program. How these get built and by whom and how fast is going to be a function of government incentives and the market. So I really can't answer that question any better than that at this point.
Okay, and then my other follow-up questions is, again, has there been any kind of study in reference to the electric pollution. Because I think by us going into everything electric, now we're increasing our electromagnetic fields, constantly going through communities. And again, I'm always concerned that, as was mentioned earlier, that the already overburdened communities will have these particular stations along closest to their communities. Besides the fact that I'm also concerned that when we always try to promote the fact that this is bringing jobs, that Black and brown people are never part of being a part of these major multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar projects. The unions are constantly, and in these work environments, are constantly pushing minorities out of being able to make these livable wages. And again, I think that there has to be some fair representation when it comes to these particular, when things do move forward. I would be curious to know what the timeline is when they also, are projecting to, implement these stations, because we also know that our state and our national grid is not already in a position to be able to handle the amount of, I would think, additional electrical electricity going through our regions.
Well, there's no question that this is going to be a transformative change, and that we have over 100 years of diesel infrastructure and diesel pollution and diesel ingrained into our system, and it's going to take time for us to change that to cleaner fuels and lower emission or even zero emission fuels and transportation. It's not easy, and there's no perfect solution, and all energy right now has some issues to it, but right now it seems that this is clearly the lesser of the current evils, and we need to make that transition, and we got to start somewhere.
And finally, I would say that, I agree that there needs to be some form of hybrid when we talk about, energy and how we utilize, the new along with the old, because we know we can't totally get rid of that. But, again, I'm just always concerned that, when we have these meetings and just asking for community input, that it's just a formality. And then when it's all said and done, whatever the, I guess, issues of concern of the community and the people who are most affected always ignore, and then it's wind up dumped right into the locations that are already overburdened.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I can tell you that our organization is fully committed to this, and we are not doing this as a formality. We're doing this because we believe in it. What happens to that information after we pass it on is beyond my pay grade, so I couldn't tell you, but I could tell you we're committed to doing what we can, and in the projects that we work with, and the the grant money, the grant projects that we have, all the projects are aligned in that direction.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm going to definitely fill out and like I said, include my concerns within the survey, but I just had to put that on the record.
Okay.
Again, I see that it always takes place where the communities and the politics, because of political will and the capital investment, knows who want this done. We are always like the last resort. So that's to be, this conversation is to be continued. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Catherine, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Chuck. And thank you, Caroline, for all of the information. And thanks to everyone for all your questions as well. So we're slowly moving to clean electricity, to renewable sources, but we want to do it right. So make sure you fill out the survey. I think it's also linked in the chat now. So all of the links and contacts are in the chat. So make sure you take a minute to fill that out. So switching gears here, in addition to all of the energy efficiency programs that New Jersey offers to homeowners, there's also incentives available to municipalities. So here to tell us more about that is our friend Mylena from Sustainable Jersey. So hi, Mylena.
Hi, thank you, Catherine. So this part of the presentation will be a collaboration between myself, Sarah from TRC, and David from NetGains. And you all will be viewing Sarah's screen, I believe. She is taking.
I am
care of
actually
slides.
unable to share my screen,
Oh.
so I don't know.
Let's see if
Says
I
the
can.
host has disabled participant screen sharing.
I believe I'm able to share my screen, although they will only be my section of the slides, Sarah. I don't know if you let me
Sure, I
see.
can shoot you over the slides real quick
Oh,
here.
it says try now, Sarah, in the chat.
Oh, okay, great. There we go. Right, there we are.
Perfect. Okay.
And let me just get myself into presentation mode. There you go.
All right. Thank you so much. So I just want to tell everybody, can you go to my first slide, please, about the Sustainable Jersey technical assistance that's offered. So that's just our free technical assistance program. And, you know, more specific to what Sarah will be talking about, we can do things like assist a municipality or a school district when they're going for energy efficiency projects and applying for a local government energy audit. So with their application, we can assist them in gathering data and just filling out the application workbook for a local government energy audit. But more broadly, our technical assistance representatives can sit with the school district or municipality and kind of figure out from their utility bills what their usage looks like in terms of what incentive programs would be beneficial for them to pursue these upgrades through. And we'll also, like I said, we'll gather all of that data necessary for these things. And we will also be able to allow the either municipality or school district to gain a better understanding on their usage right now. So we can set things up like an Energy Star portfolio manager account if they don't already use this. And that'll allow them to track their usage in the future, especially once they start getting some upgrades to their facilities. You know, if they get lighting upgrades or HVAC upgrades, they can go back into this portfolio manager and input new data, and they can get all these visual tools and different reports to let them know how these upgrades are really performing. And then you can go to the next slide. That's perfect. And then with Sustainable Jersey, as always, if you're familiar with the certification program that we administer, we try to link everything that we do to these actions. So when you're applying for certification, you can gain points in the program. So for the local government energy audit, for both school districts and municipalities, you'll see that we have the action. It's the energy efficiency for either schools or municipal facilities. And it's a variable point action, but when we work with you through the technical assistance program, we can help you gather everything to apply into the actions so that you may gain points. And we'll also help you with a different action, which is the energy tracking and management action. And of course, if you reach out to us, we can assist you with these actions anyways. But just as a participant in the technical assistance program, this is a little bonus. We'll just help you gain points in the action so that you have another benefit of participating in the technical assistance process with us. And then just a quick, you can go on to the next slide. And just a quick plug in about the direct pay program. So in the past, the certain incentives were only available to taxable entities. And now, for example, if you just recently acquired solar panels, as a tax exempt entity, you can actually apply to get the incentive. And if you completed a project in 2023, you have until mid-November this year to apply to get this tax credit. And I will post a link in the chat right now, a last minute link of our flyer that we created, because Sustainable Jersey is going to be sending out resources for people who are interested in finding more. So as you know, resources are developed through us, or if we find resources that will be helpful and useful for everybody out there, if you sign up to this distribution list, we'll be keeping you up to date with whatever's going on in relation to this. So I will post that in the chat for everybody. If you have questions, the best person to speak to will be my manager, Tracy Woods, and I'll also post her email in the chat. And if you have any questions about the technical assistance that I previously spoke about, you can go ahead and email me. And I think my email will also already be in the chat, but if not, I will post that as well. And yeah, just I'm glad to be here and to be able to share everything with you guys. I want to make it brief so that Sarah has time to go through her presentation, but feel free to reach out with any questions relating to technical assistance or certification or direct pay. Thank you so much, and I will give it away to Sarah.
Thank you so much. So this is going to be a ton of information thrown at you all at once. So I think the name of the game is definitely we'll be putting in contact information in the chat, as well as links. You'll see this here with all my contact information. So following up would be a great opportunity to speak more about Sustainable Jersey, as well as the local government energy audit program in detail. So let me get going on the world's fastest summary, hopefully. So LGEA, the Local Government Energy Audit Program, is part of New Jersey's Clean Energy Program, NJCEP. Lots of acronyms here today. So LGEA, what this program does is provide free ASHRAE Level 2 audits to qualified applicants. And just like the name suggests, it's going to be your local government. So municipalities, cities, towns, counties, as well as school districts and certain nonprofits, your 501c3s, can all participate to get this free ASHRAE Level 2 audit. This level of audit provides a very huge overview of your utilities, doing a utility analysis on all fuel types. We're going to identify potential energy conservation measures, as well as capital improvement projects. And they're going to give you an analysis of potential savings, cost savings, breakdown of your energy end use, and even a high-level screening for the potential for on-site generation, such as combined heat and power or your PV solar. This program also includes a technical report that is going to be given to you and a presentation to review all findings. There are a couple of additional scopes that we also offer, most significantly a deeper dive into that solar study, doing a more of a not feasibility, but just a deeper dive, a better screening, not such a high level overview. We take a few steps extra with that, and that's available to anybody that's participating in LGEA. So I wanted to go through the process because there's a lot of steps with this project. LGEA starts very significantly with your applications. Again, I'm going to include the link to the website where you'll be able to find these materials, as well as completed reports if you're interested in looking at what could how LGEA can benefit you. So a complete application packet comes with a signed PDF application, an LGEA workbook that's been completed, which will have building data that we ask you to complete, as well as 14 months worth of utility data encompassing all fuel types. So electric, gas, propane, solar, et cetera, et cetera. Sustainable Jersey can definitely help you with this process. We've had a lot of success with people working with Sustainable Jersey to come into LGEA. And once everything's said and done and we get that full application submittal, we will perform a deep dive utility analysis. And once we are assured that we have all the information to create that accurate energy baseline, your application will be approved. So there'll be back and forth during this process, but we do our best to really walk applicants through all steps to do our best to help you, because this is our full-time job, not yours. So we certainly understand the need for additional help to not overburden your resources. After you're approved, you're going to get an initial call, which is to really introduce your audit team. Who's going to be coming on site? Who's going to be your account manager? We're going to review the process and the next steps, as well as schedule those next steps that we're coming up with. After that, we'll have a facility interview. This is typically done via a conference call, but can be done on site. But every facility must go through this, because we're going to take a deep dive into how the building operates, what your building and envelope is like, what the systems are within your facility, talk about that energy consuming equipment, and talk about your facility concerns. Where are your aches and pains? After that is when we're going to actually get to come out on site and do the on-site room by room walkthrough with a knowledgeable facility member. This is how we collect data on all of the energy consuming equipment, so that we can really balance what we see on site with your utility consumption from that utility analysis. You can't save what you can't measure. So once we know all that you're using and see what's on site, we're going to be able to make energy efficiency recommendations, energy conservation measure lists, and really give you a good idea of how to reduce your energy impact. We'll also benchmark your facility through Energy Star's Portfolio Manager, completely free software. And once the account is set up, you heard Mylana talking about that a little bit, it is up to you to keep it up so that you can really track your energy consumption as well as costs in real time. As we're doing benchmarking, we're also doing that LGEA ASHRAE Level 2 analysis, leads to that LGEA draft report. It is a technical report that's going to really review your existing conditions, give you a table of energy conservation measures, as well as additional improvements and other findings that we find at your facility. And you're going to get this report in order for you to review it, come up with questions, or just see if you understand what the content is. After all your draft reports are delivered, we're going to give you that LGEA presentation where we'll review all of our findings, answer your questions, and make sure not only to see that you're understanding the scope, the potential projects that are coming out with it, but go over those eligible energy efficiency incentive programs available to you in New Jersey so that you can make these energy efficient upgrades and get money back for it. Finally, after that presentation, the LGEA reports will be, final reports will be sent off to you, and we will again post them on the New Jersey Clean Energy Program website. This is not out for people to solicit or comment. It's just that it's a state-run program run by the NJBPU, and all of these report findings are made public unless you tell us, hey, there's sensitive information, we don't want that published, then we can, of course, do something to either redact that information or hold it back from that public website. So, world's fastest summary. I'd welcome any questions if we have time. As I said, I'm going to go ahead and post my contact information and the LGEA contact information into the chat so that we can follow up directly, do more one-on-one talks, and hopefully get some public entities enrolled in this program so you can be on your energy efficient journey. Thanks.
All right, is it back to me now, or are we taking questions?
I think it is back to you. I am trying desperately to stop sharing my screen.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Mylana. So great information. And again, all the links are in the chat, so they should be available there. So next up, Sustainable Collingswood in my hometown is always setting a great example for the rest of our South Jersey towns. So we're going to bring in Donna Helms to tell us about the borough's food equity initiative and how the Green Team was able to partner with the county and Virtua to launch several new programs to increase food equity and to combat food insecurity for our area residents. So I will pass it to Donna. Hi, Donna.
Hi, thanks, Catherine. And thanks, Tri-County, for having us tonight to talk about this program. And it's always wonderful to attend these meetings and learn about all the good things that are happening in New Jersey. I would like to show my presentations. I just want to be able to share my screen. Is that possible? No? If it's not allowing me to share my screen. Oh, okay. Let me see, try now. Okay. Let's see.
Do you see the share screen button, the green one?
Yeah, no, sorry, my computer's slow.
Okay, there we go.
Can you guys see? Okay, so tonight I'm going to be talking really briefly about, are you guys able to see? I'm sorry, I should ask that. I'm going to talk very briefly about food equity and the environment. So just quickly, food equity, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with there we go. Food equity is a concept that really just states that people should have enough to eat when they need to eat it. So access to healthy, nutritious, and affordable food. Now, many people will ask us when we talk about food equity at our Green Team meetings, what does food equity have to do with the environment? And that answer is plenty. It's a direct impact on climate change. It has a direct impact on pollution and waste. World hunger, global food insecurity can affect with deforestation, water pollution, social unrest due to poverty, and of course, ill health. So unhealthy people contribute to an unhealthy planet. In studying this issue, we've learned that the solution is to strengthen local food ecosystems. And that means the closest you can get to growing your own food, the better for ourselves and for our planet. The solution of using local food ecosystems will help reduce hunger, will fight climate change, because if the source is as close to you as possible where you get your food, you're not traveling long distances, energy use is less, supply chain issues are reduced. And the closer you are to growing your own food or to food being grown, helps strengthen your local economy and lead to economic self-sufficiency for communities. Now in Collingswood, we're home, as Catherine so eloquently said in the beginning, we're home to some of the best restaurants in New Jersey, hands down. If you haven't been to Collingswood, please come and see us. We're also renowned for our nationally awarded and recognized farmers market. So there's a lot of wonderful things that happen in Collingswood around food, growing food, appreciating food, celebrating food. But during the pandemic, many of us learned that hunger and food insecurity is alive and well, unfortunately, in Collingswood. So during the pandemic, the Collingswood Borough started a program to help families that were experiencing financial insecurity or had lost their job during the pandemic. And the biggest thing that people were asking for were grocery cards and money to pay for food. And though that program ended a couple of years ago, that need continued. And in fact, we've come to learn that about 12% of Collingswood population lives below the poverty line. The majority of the people living in poverty are senior citizens and children. And so as a Green Team, some of us were involved in that Collingswood Cares initiative during the pandemic. And when we learned about food insecurity and hunger and its effects on our community as well as the environment, we wanted to do something about it. And we crafted a vision that we wanted a fresh, responsive approach to support food access, affordability, and a local food ecosystem that is strong and sustainable. And by responsive, we meant we talked to and surveyed and reached out to as many people as possible, both who are affected by hunger and food insecurity, but also who work in that space and are experts in trying to come up with innovative solutions to solve that problem. So our green team put together our own team to talk about how can we truly impact and reduce food insecurity within Collingswood. Our team included our borough leadership, our Collingswood Farmers Market, Virtual Hospitals Eat Well program. They have a mobile farmers market and a mobile grocery store. And the Collingswood School District, our school district, has an in-school food pantry. And so we wanted to work with them to understand the needs of the pantry in terms of helping reduce hunger around students and their families. And it took a lot of work, and as I said, a lot of research and a lot of reaching out to understand how to understand the comprehensiveness of the problem, where are the gaps, and what are solutions that, one, make sense, are responsive, and two, are sustainable. So we're very happy in the last 2.5 years to report some important successes that have actually reduced food insecurity within our community. Our first project that we started, as I mentioned, we have a nationally renowned farmers market. It's a wonderful farmers market. It's open from May to November, again on a Saturday. Come on, hop on the Patco, come into town. You'll love the farmers market. Unfortunately, as of 2 years ago, our farmers market did not accept SNAP food benefits. And that meant a huge portion of our town, as well as visitors, could not access all the wonderful things that were available at the Collingswood Farmers Market. So Green Team members worked with the director of the Collingswood Farmers Market to get certified to offer SNAP EBT resources. And we rolled that out 2 years ago, and we now accept SNAP. And then last year we worked with City Green, which is an environmental group in North Jersey, and they offer a program working with local farmers markets called Good Food Bucks. So if I'm a person who has SNAP and I purchase apples at the farmers market, for every dollar I spend, Good Food Bucks will match that dollar up to a certain amount. So that helps me grow my ability to purchase good, healthy foods for my families. It also helps our local vendors and farmers by increasing the amount of customers that they have. Secondly, we have an amazing resident in Collingswood, April Shetler, who is, I think she's the actual director of the Eat Well program at Virtua. And she had been bringing the mobile food farmers market occasionally to some of the schools, elementary schools in our town. And so we started to talk to her, where is poverty concentrated within Collingswood, and how do we get folks access to affordable food year round? And from that, last year, we rolled out the Eat Well Mobile Farmers Market program that is in West Collingswood. It comes every Wednesday. And year round is a farmers market. So our farmers market that we have downtown is from May to September. The mobile farmers market offers seasonal produce year round. You don't have to be a SNAP recipient to shop there. Anyone can shop there. And it's super, super affordable. You can get 20 pieces of produce for like $9. It's so crazy affordable. It's a wonderful resource. We have it every Wednesday in town, and we're really excited because each week we see more and more people using it. Another successful initiative that we've had is the Collingswood Panther Pantry, which is the school district's food pantry. As we reached out to the school district food pantry, a big problem that they had was the need was continually growing, but their resources weren't. And so how could we help support them in their efforts to get food to students and their families? So another great event we have in Collingswood every year in September is Porch Fest, where residents open up their front porches for performers, musicians, singers to perform all day long. And people come from all over, they ride their bikes, walk around town, going from porch to porch, enjoying the entertainment. And so last year, the coordinators of Porch Fest agreed to host a fundraiser during the event, and we raised over $3,000 for the Panther Pantry. Additionally, the Green Team, the Collingswood Green Team, holds regular food drives and diaper drives to give those resources to the Panther Pantry. And the director of the pantry regularly comes to the Green Team to give updates to let us know if they need more resources, if they need, you know, non-perishable items, are they needing personal products, what have you. And then the Green Team has strengthened its relationship, which was already strong, with Collingswood Borough. We have a real partnership to reduce food insecurity. So some ways that they've helped us, for example, with the Virtua Mobile Farmers Market, we needed to have a site that the market could access every week at the same time, on the same day of the week for the year. And they were able to get us site permissions to do that. We're currently working with them, the Panther Pantry at the school, which is a good thing. It's growing in terms of they need more storage because they're getting so many donations. So the borough is working with Green Team and the food pantry to locate space for storage, maybe at our police or firehouse or public works building. And also the borough's business improvement district has a program, Green Business Alliance, and the Green Business Alliance works with restaurants and local businesses to help get them certified around sustainability actions that those businesses take. And they get certain benefits from the business improvement district for taking those actions. So we're working with the borough and the business improvement district to reduce packaging for some of our restaurants, to explore ways that restaurants can get, or local produce stores can get more involved in this initiative to reduce hunger. So along those lines, to add to that success, we continually, as I said, go back to survey residents. We survey through the pantry, we survey at the farmer's market to understand, are we meeting the need? What more can be done? And so some future plans that we have, we're really excited about certain things. One is a lot of members of the Collingswood Community Gardens are members of the Sustainable Collingswood Green Team. And so they were mentioning to us that sometimes during the summer months, they'll have, you know, an excess of zucchinis or corn or, you know, something or carrots that they need to get rid of, and just giving them to their neighbors, they still have more left. So we've connected the community garden coordinators to the Panther Pantry at the school so that they can give the excess produce to the school Panther Pantry during the summer when our students and our families aren't getting the resources through the school, and they can utilize some of that.
Donna, can we ask you to wrap it up? It's just Collingswood does too much. You guys are so great. You know, we'll bring you back to the next meeting. I just want to get to our next presenters.
Sure. So yeah, and just quickly, our high school green team now is going to be growing a food garden. And as I said, we continue to work with our restaurants to figure out how to connect some of their excess food to our initiative. And if anybody has any questions or wants to get more information, I can also put this in the chat.
All right, thanks so much, Donna. So
Sure.
yeah, please make sure you include everything in the chat. A lot of really valuable information there. So, all right, just for another quick plug, TCS always loves to partner with the New Jersey Student Sustainability Coalition. So here's, I hope I get your name right, Bangu Bobo, to tell us quickly about their new leadership team. And I will connect to you right now.
Hi. Okay, I see. Go ahead.
No, you can totally go.
Hi, so unfortunately, Bengu, who's our secretary, couldn't make it to the meeting tonight. I'm Alif. I'm the new high school co-chair for NJSSC. And, it's great to be here. We're currently in the process of rebuilding the NJSSC, and none of us have been in these Tri-County sustainability meetings so far, but it's so cool to see all you guys do. And it's so good to be able to, keep up with what's going on in New Jersey and the sustainability. Yeah, so yeah, we just wanted to quickly introduce ourselves as we're going to start recruiting soon for new members and for our coalition. So Iris, Outreach, do you want to take it away?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you guys for giving us a chance to just introduce ourselves. So, as you might get from the name, we are a student-led and student-based organization focused on legislative action environmentally. So we've had some projects in the past doing everything from fossil fuel divestment to lobbying for the Green Amendment. And this year we're going to keep up our Green Amendment efforts, as well as taking on some work with forest conservation and native species preservation, as well as clean water and energy projects. And yeah, so just being here enough shows that you guys all have an interest in preserving your future, and we want to make young people basically the best equipped to working for that goal, because obviously your future is unfortunately not secure. So we have a new leadership this year, and we have a lot of different trainings on everything from outreach to research to lobbying to anything else that you think might make you a better activist. And we would love any new members, anyone who's interested. I'm going to put an interest form in the chat, or if anyone knows people in high school or college that you think would be interested, it's a great way to get involved. You can get volunteer hours, and yeah, you can definitely benefit, and we will definitely benefit as a coalition from your input. So yeah, any questions?
Yeah.
We are here.
I mean, we did just mention a few projects that we're working to get involved in this year, but we're also open to suggestions. And if you know of students who are in high school or college in New Jersey and they have a project that they would love to collaborate with us on, we would love to partner with them. We would love to partner with other organizations, and we're just looking forward to restarting the NJSSC and just having a great year. So thank you so much. And I think Iris is just going to put our forms in the chat. So if you could share with interested students, we would love that. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks for the introduction, Aleph and Iris. So really great information. So last but not least, this audience is probably well aware of the role that cars are going to play with internal combustion. Sorry, the role that internal combustion engines play in contributing to both CO2 emissions and poor air quality in South Jersey. So what if the transition to electric vehicles takes longer than we hope? So we'll talk a little more about this. So let's welcome Matt Larkin and Mark Timko from the New Jersey-based Compliance and Research Associates to give us a brief overview of the CataPass supplemental catalytic converter system. Quite a mouthful there. Hi, Matt and Mark.
Hello. Thank you, Catherine. Can you enable me to share my screen, please? Okay. In the interest of time, while that's working its way through the network, my name is Matt Larkin. I'm with Compliance and Research Services in Plainfield, New Jersey. I want to talk to you tonight about a solution to the significant ozone pollution problem and the high asthma attacks that result from that in your region. First, thank you for giving me some time to talk this evening. Can I? Okay, so luckily I have one page. So first, ozone is formed in the air by a reaction from NOx and VOCs. NOx and VOCs are emitted from motor vehicles that burn a fossil fuel. If we reduce the NOx and the VOCs, then we reduce the formation of ozone, which is the trigger for the asthma attacks. We have developed a supplemental catalytic converter for gasoline vehicles that will reduce NOx by 70% and VOCs by 40%. And this performance has been verified by the EPA. So we're talking to you tonight because we'd like to partner with you and apply for an EPA grant to install supplemental catalytic converters on the commuter vehicles that travel through and near your region. And so why is this a good thing? So the data in this table that I show is from the New Jersey State Health Assessment Database. It lists the ER visits for asthma for both Black and white people in the state of New Jersey, and then in some of the cities and counties in your area. So in New Jersey, there is already a racial disparity where essentially Blacks are 6 times more likely than white residents to require an ER visit for an asthma attack. In the city of Camden, that number, the ratio for Blacks increases by 2.5 times the state ratio for Blacks. So there is a significant racial disparity around asthma, okay? And so this is a real environmental justice problem. And you see the data here, and then Burlington County has some problems, Camden County has problems. So there's definitely high rates of asthma in your area. So again, ozone is formed by NOx and VOC. Ozone is the cause of your asthma attacks. So if we can reduce the NOx and the VOC, we can reduce the amount of ozone, and then we reduce these asthma attacks. So the one thing that I want to say is that in addition, if you go to the EPA Environmental Justice website, you'll see that some regions in your area are in the top 5% nationally for asthma attacks. So it's definitely a problem in your area. So why is this? So in New Jersey, our DEP tells us that 80% of NOx is from motor vehicles. They also tell us that 92% of every vehicle mile is in a gasoline car or truck. Nationally, half of our cars are at least 12 years old and are still driven over 12,000 miles a year. So we can see that there is this long list of cars that we need to get through before we're going to see some real results from the cleaner air that electric vehicles or other non-fossil fuel vehicles will be bringing to us. So we see this as a way to kind of build a bridge to that cleaner air, clean up these cars that are polluting the air today, and help improve the environmental justice for some of these communities. So I have some data here. Government modeling shows reducing NOx by 30% would achieve the ozone standards. The entire state of New Jersey does not meet the federal standards for ozone. Again, what I said is the older cars have higher emissions. So if we were to target some older vehicles, we could really reduce NOx. And by reducing those, that's going to be kind of the most immediate solution that we could come up with for helping to bring those numbers that you see at the top of the chart, those high disparities in asthma attacks, help to bring that down. So again, we'd love to partner with Tri-County Sustainability. There are EPA grants available. They'd allow us to install catapaths on these older commuter vehicles that are going around you and through you on the turnpike, on 295. There's a lot of vehicles that pass through your community. Your high ozone numbers really aren't justified by your population. It's really about the vehicles that are through and around your community. If you want any information, my email address is on the bottom, info@catapaths.com, and we have a website, www.catapaths.com. Thank you. Any questions?
Matt, hi, this is Marty. I have a question. Looking at your chart, it looks like for Camden City, for not for Cherry Hill, Burlington County and Camden County, that the percentages are much higher in the white only category than the black only category. Is that correct?
So when you look at this data, the column on the left is the rate for the state. Each other column is a percentage of that rate. So in the state, Blacks have a 6-to-1 ratio for needing an asthma ER visit. If I go into Camden, Black residents in Camden are almost 2.5 times more likely than an average Black resident in New Jersey to need an ER visit. White residents in Camden are 5.5 times more likely. So I'm not an epidemiologist, but it's clear that something's going on in Camden, why all of Camden goes so high for asthma attacks for people. Did that answer your question, or did you have a particular?
I think so. I was trying to understand what the relationship was between the main numbers and the percentages that you were showing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Matt. So for any community groups who are interested in partnering with CataPass, the links and contact info should be in the chat. So make sure you take a look at the chat if you're interested in partnering with CataPass. So it looks like we are almost at time here. So we're at the end of our scheduled time, so we're going to wrap the meeting up here. So thank you so much to all of our guests, and don't forget to join the TCS Discord. So that should be plugged into the chat as well. And the meeting recording is going to be available on TCS on the YouTube channel tomorrow. So that will be available for anyone who missed the meeting. And also don't hesitate to contact us at info@tcsahub.org. So that's also in the chat as well, or on Discord or via social media. All right, everyone, have a wonderful evening and thank you for coming.